I was raised on the IF tradition of organizing, which is the structured tradition of organizing. And there, thank you so much, we love IF. But in IF, we are in the structured tradition, and they have a story why the momentum doesn't work. Does this make sense? They say, and if you read their literature, they say movements die. And they don't say that just because they're trying to explain you the phenomenon of movements. They're trying to tell you specifically, movements die, movements are bad, don't get next to them, they're just a waste of your time. Right? Now, I also engage people in the momentum tradition that demonize people that do structure. Is that true or not? The momentum is the best thing to do. You're structured. You're just the non-profit industrial complex. You know what to do. You've heard this story before. Is that true or not?
Yeah. Unions are hierarchical.
Unions are hierarchical.
It's about people's jobs.
It's a bunch of this. You know, there's all kinds of stories. Now, I just want to say that there's also constructive feedback on both of them. Yes or no?
Yes.
But also, sometimes the story doesn't allow us to see actually what they are, which is what we've done is pretty much an analysis, right? So, what Stefan is saying is that we actually, how many of you are coming to the conclusion that we're not actually advocating for either of them, right? Yeah. That we're actually are advocating for an integration. Is this making sense?
Yes.
How many of you are coming to that conclusion? Raise your hand. Excellent, outstanding, amazing. Can you pat yourself on the back a little bit? Great job. Amazing. That feels so good. Okay, good. So we want this, get the best out of this to come to here, and the best of that to come back here. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing in the next couple of days. And Ivan Marvik, maybe, Paul, you want to talk about this one first?
So, Ivan, after forming Oktapor, what he realized is that there's many different traditions all throughout the globe. And I think what Leah was saying was really true, that in the United States we have a very defined structured tradition that generally comes out of the Linsky tradition, and we have this clamshell lines, but in a lot of other countries it's totally different. They have very different traditions and models of organizing. And in Serbia, they have this student protest movement that was really momentum-driven, and they had a political party tradition that kind of came from the left in that country that was very, really structured. And he said, what happened, why Oktapor became successful, is because they lost. They were super depressed after this huge momentum general strike. They led a general strike in all these universities that shut down the universities, but afterwards the momentum died, and they were really depressed, right? We've all been in there, in that experience. So he said, well, we started getting the party organizers together, and we started figuring out an integration. And that is what created the revolution, is the integration between those. We had to figure a new organizing tradition that integrated us. And he said, not only did we have to come to that integration, we had to teach everyone that integration. We had to make peace with the two different models to get them together, and he said, when they won their revolution, they went around into different places to help do this process. And he said, I've been to many countries in this time after the failure of mass protest. And it is a time when they have this revelation that they both need protest and organization. That's what he calls momentum and structure. This is when they have the breakthrough. One of the most important things in my training can give them is that revelation, that they need a hybrid between mass protest and the more organized side. He said that is the eve of revolution, is when you can get that integration to happen. He says that's the climactic moment in most of these histories, in most of the places that he's been in. When he feels that they're really making that integration, he thinks that the revolution is going to pop. So I like to think we're in that moment here, hopefully. And we can see that it's that integration